stay connected. Stay plugged in.
Are you considering moving to Saint John, New Brunswick in the near future? If you are, you've come to the right place. In this video, I'm going to be going over 5 things that you need to know before moving to Saint John, New Brunswick. And make sure you stay to the very end for number 5 because it's the reason that most people have moved here. But some of these are going to catch you off guard. And I'm going to be going over some things that most real estate agents aren't going to be telling you and that I want to be very transparent with and let you know up front before you make the decision so that you're able to make the most educated decision on whether or not this is the right city for you or not. If you're new to the channel, my name is Brandon Vincent. I'm a real estate agent here in Saint John, New Brunswick with eXp Realty. I've been actively selling real estate for over 7 years now. My goal on this channel is to bring you relevant real estate information in an entertaining way. If you like the sound of that, hit the like, subscribe button, follow along for the journey. I'm going to leave my contact information below. If you have any questions on what you're seeing here, feel free to reach out, text or call anytime. But without further ado, let's get into the 5 things that you need to know before moving to Saint John, New Brunswick.
Number 1.
Affordability. With an average house price in Saint John of $328,000 for the month of October 2025, Saint John has some of the most affordable housing in all of Canada. And that has made it very enticing for people who have been moving here interprovincially. That is something that we've ranked consistently at, big factor in a lot of the growth and actually the increase in the housing price that we've seen over the last 5 years as well. But don't get blinded by the enticing price tags that you see on properties here, because I've heard of people moving here that didn't fully understand our systems that we have that are unique to us that most people don't have. For example, some things like oil heating or electric baseboards or well and septics. These are very common around Saint John, especially in the greater Saint John area. And if you're not used to them, these things can really blindside you if issues ever come up. So it's important to speak with your real estate agent and make sure that you understand exactly the systems, the heating, and all of these things that go on in different areas of Saint John when it comes to buying properties here. And that's why it's very important to connect with a real estate agent that's going to communicate these things to you to find out what your needs are and to make sure that you're in full understanding of your circumstances when you're moving here.
Number 2.
The weather. And this is a big one, okay? This is one that you cannot overlook. Sure, you're like, yeah, there's weather everywhere all over Canada. I'm used to it. Maybe. But things that you need to know are we have full-on winters and we have full-on summers. What I mean by that is we have everything in between. We have beautiful springs. We have hot summers. We have freezing winters, sometimes with crazy amounts of snow, freezing rain, everything in between, right? So these are things that you need to keep in mind when moving here. Now, also, some things that are very important is we have the Bay of Fundy right on our doorstep, which brings in some very interesting weather. Sometimes it'll bring in some fog in the morning and it'll clear it out in the afternoon. Sometimes it'll bring fog in all day. So inside the city of Saint John, it's a foggy, kind of cold, dreary day. But if you drive 15 minutes outside of the city, it's beautiful and sunny. Your location is very important where you're moving within the city and understanding whether or not are you affected by the fog in this area. Is it an area that is going to be more prone to being very windy because you're right by the ocean? Or there's all these kind of different things that you need to factor in. We get winter all over Canada. Some places get it way worse. It's hit and miss for us. It all depends. The last couple of years have been very nice winters, very minimal snow, but that's not guaranteed. About 10 years ago, there was back-to-back winters with record snowfall amounts here. And it was like Snowmageddon, where you just every single day you're shoveling foot upon foot of snow and just all kinds. And it's just part of the lifestyle. So that's why it's important to know things like having winter tires, making sure you're buying good winter equipment, making sure you have a vehicle that is actually going to be sustainable for the winter. Things along those lines are super important, and just making sure that you understand the area and how the weather affects the areas and different areas that you're at. Now, don't let the weather scare you though, because we have beautiful springs and we have amazing falls that are great for hunting. It's actually really nice to have the full package of weather, because then you get to appreciate the summer and the nice times way more when you're in our average, 4 to 6 months of winter.
Number 3.
This is going to freaking get people upset. Saint John is a growing economic hub, and it's been exploding over the last 5 years. Healthcare, trades, energy, shipping, and remote tech jobs are all viable options here, especially when you have major employers, Irving and the Port of Saint John, which aren't just employers, they're economic machines. Our port's been growing significantly with multiple cranes coming in that are helping to increase the port's capacity, which is a major investment here in the city for bringing in all of the tanker ships with their sea cans. We're seeing way more activity going on down at the ports now than ever before. We also have a lot of remote work, and there's a lot of entrepreneurs that I know as well that are doing very well. So there's all of these options. I know employment is a polarizing topic, especially in this city, so I will be doing another video on this, so stay tuned for that down the road.
Number 4.
Choosing the right neighborhood. Saint John has a lot of different neighborhoods that all have different vibes that would accommodate different types of lifestyle. And it's not just a matter of dividing it up into East Saint John, West Saint John, because there's certain areas east that'd be better for certain types like families or growing families, or there's certain areas that would be better for, let's say, somebody that is looking to retire in a more quiet area. So every part of Saint John has different communities that would be ideal for different types of lifestyles. That's why it's very important to speak with somebody that's a local and a professional that understands these areas so that they can help to find areas that are best suited for you. And then also on the outskirts of Saint John, we have the more country and slow paced lifestyles that are what some people would prefer, as opposed to the more suburban lifestyles of being in the city, you know, having neighbors fairly close to you. And another thing is, you know, how much yard do you want? There's so many different specifications. Do you want a property that's waterfront? You know, understanding the areas and understanding the neighborhoods is very crucial prior to coming here. And that'll be a whole video as well down the road. So the thing to know is to make sure that you talk to a local professional who's going to help guide you to a neighborhood and an area that's going to be suitable for what you're looking for.
Number 5.
The lifestyle. Slower, simpler, and grounded. So this is one of my favorite aspects of living in Saint John, is the fact that it's a very grounded lifestyle here. Anywhere you live in Saint John, it's a 5 to 10 minute drive to the nearest nature park where you can go out and walk in the woods. And it's very rare that you're stuck in rush hour traffic. Rush hour traffic is not bumper to bumper for hours like it is in a lot of the big cities. And I know that that is something that a lot of people love about Saint John. And just the pace of life. It's almost shocking if you're from a big city. The first time I ever moved to a big city was living in Calgary for a little while. And then coming back to Saint John, I literally felt like I was coming back to the Shire in a way. And it's just so slow paced and literally like houses on the hills and stuff. It was just so polarizing coming from the big cities, but it made me appreciate Saint John so much more. And I think that so many people have realized that being next to oceans, the walking trails, hiking, kayaking, these are all common things. Hunting, ATVing, snowmobiling, skating on rivers, and playing ice hockey, and all the sports that we have, and just the community that we have around here. It's all very grounded. We stop and talk to each other in the supermarket for so long, right? Like we'll sit there and have conversations and catch up, and sometimes I'm 30, 40 minutes late coming home because I run into somebody I knew, and I got talking to them, and I'm just catching up with them, seeing how they're doing, and that happens all the time. Once you've been here for a while, it's hard to go somewhere and not find somebody you know. So these here are just 5 of the things that I think you should know before moving to Saint John. Some things to take into consideration, some things to understand before you make the decision to move here. And I will be making other videos going into depth on a lot of these topics. But for right now, I'm going to leave you with that. If you have any questions, I would love to help and help you find the right spot for you in Saint John. As a local, I've been here for just about all of my life, leaving little stints at a time, but always came back here because it's my home and it's where I really love to be. And it's because of these 5 reasons that I've just told you. If you want, I'm going to leave my contact information below. Feel free to give me a call or a text. Adios.